could also be bad because then they'll just be pushing out these movies and people might get sick of them.
What do you think the future of Marvel will look like now that Disney have bought 20th Century Fox and Marvel? Marvel now own the rights to so many characters that they didn't have before, such as the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So how do you think that's going to change the future of the Marvel universe?
So we've already seen the collaborations. So you have the Spider-Man Homecoming movie and you have the Thor Ragnarok movie with Hulk. Those collaborations, so I think more of that because they'll have to introduce a lot of X-Men characters into the Marvel universe. And they're obviously going to have to use Fantastic Four and their collective, so you're going to have to either introduce those individually or all as one in a big movie. So we have a couple of Avengers movies coming up in the future, most likely they come every 2 years or so, so maybe one of those movies, or they make a Fantastic Four, although that's been done so many times now that I feel it's probably the wrong way to do it. And Marvel seems good at being able to do origin stories, but also putting characters together. So with that basis, I think it's a lot of different directions, but they're going to have to include the characters. They won't abort them and not use them.
I think that it's definitely going to expand this universe no matter what. I think it could open to more galaxy-oriented things, such as like space, and we could maybe explore more into that.
Yeah.
I disagree with you on the Fantastic Four thing. I think that many audience members are turned off by it now because it's done so many times and it's always failed, and people probably feel like it's impossible to do a good Fantastic Four film. But I think Marvel have the winning formula to making superhero films, and I think they'll have a plan to fix what's been done poorly with these characters in the past. It's made them so bad on the big screen that they'll know what to do with them.
So are you thinking they're going to go more with an origin story for Fantastic Four, or they're going to collaborate them into different movies?
In my opinion, it will work better with an origin story, because to have so many of those characters just pop up randomly and not really have much context to that doesn't.
They could always
really
put them in and then push the origin story off for a little bit. Everyone's still got that other Fantastic Four movie fresh in their mind that was a bit of a disaster, even though the casting is really good for it. I think the better approach would be to incorporate them first before doing an origin. But like you said, there is a lot of backstory, right, with those characters. You can't just put them into an Avengers movie with no context. It won't really work.
Yeah.
Although Civil War and Spider-Man, I mean, it's one character.
But it's one character compared to like 4 different characters.
They could do a Reed Richards first, and then
and then maybe open it up
over.
into him, like kind of like a Batman style where he went looking for the Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay, I would be okay with that. If they introduce any of the Fantastic Four or any X-Men or whatever Fox own property-wise to the superheroes, what character would you like to see the most come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Jake?
Deadpool.
Deadpool, okay. Yeah, like Jake said, I would say Deadpool as well, but so many problems come with that.
One that I'm not so interested to see, but interested to see how they're going to do it, is Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Because they already had a Quicksilver that died in that universe, so it's interesting to see how they're going to work around that. Did they already have the rights to Galactus before?
No, they didn't.
Fox?
I was going to say Galactus.
Galactus would be an interesting one.
Because he'd be a very good villain to use.
Doctor Doom, I still think he's a great villain.
Yeah.
It's just been used so badly in the past. He's a great villain. If they could use him and have a bit of depth to his villain, his background, that would build him up. I think they could really do a Thanos-like backstory for him as a villain. He would work well.
What do you think some of the consequences are of the Disney and Fox merger? Do you think it's going to have more negative impacts or more positive impacts?
As a movie watcher, as a consumer, I think it's going to have good impacts from the point of view we get more characters and universes that can combine together. And like you said, it's a winning formula for Marvel at the moment, so they're going to produce good movies. Ethical considerations that come with that is maybe that they take into account less of what we want because they have so much money and so much power now with these characters that maybe they go a bit ballistic with it and they throw a load of characters into one movie like they have done with Avengers, double that, and it doesn't come out very well, but then they make money off of it, so they keep making those kind of movies. I guess the question is, if they start to go a bit downhill with some of their movies, Marvel, will they look at that and look at what the audience is responding to, or will they just keep going with what makes money?
I think they listen to the fans, but at the same time, they do kind of crumble to the way the side of money than really the side of the fans, because fans have always argued specific stuff about what Disney have done, like firing James Gunn. Of course, no one was happy about that, but Disney did it, to make sure that they wouldn't have a bad reputation. And they are a company after all, so they have to look after themselves. But I think when it comes down to it, Disney will go for money over the fans' support. You're definitely going to see job loss. I think quite a few people from Fox are going to get laid off.
They've said 1,000, right?
Yeah, most of the time these corporations come in, they buy out these smaller companies that go through and start firing a lot of people and then hiring their own people into that company.
I mean, the counter to that is that there's plenty of jobs in that industry. Those people, if they're that good, they'll find new jobs. They won't take them that long to do. It's more so I guess the potential with a merger is that they fire people who have duplications of positions, and what is that really? Do you want somebody who might not be as enthusiastic about those characters being replaced by someone who's more money orientated?
I reckon it'd be good and bad, because more good for more characters, but bad because it also depends on the demand of those characters and whether or not the movies are directed well enough. It's supposed to be bad because then they'll just be pushing out these movies and people might get sick of them because they come out too fast, and it's like...
I think we've seen it with like genres in the past, like all the zombie kind of movies that came out between 2005 and 2014. I think that's now really dead. Yeah. And then did all the TV series as well, and what we're seeing now, we're seeing loads of TV series, loads of movies, essentially. And it might be in form at the moment, and it might have a large base of consumers, but is it going to be the future of movie industry?
Marvel and the upcoming projects. So they have a new Black Widow solo film coming up, and Scarlett Johansson is, of course, going to be the lead role in that. Revealed that she's being paid $15 million for this film, so she'll be gaining equal to her co-stars Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. So what I want to ask you guys is this a sign that women are getting some equality in the film industry?
But it also depends because she is a big actor and she's got a massive role, so it could depend.
Do you reckon it's good for the industry, especially Marvel, to see female characters getting...
I think it probably would attract more fans as well, seeing the equality.
Scarlett Johansson's an A-list movie actor. Is she really a good example of...
Yeah.
Because Scarlett Johansson's doing well, there's therefore going to be equality in the Marvel or Disney kind of franchise. I don't really think so. One of the ones I'd like to see would be the person who plays Evangeline Lilly would be a good example, but also the lady who plays who's the one that does all the mind stuff?
Person who plays Scarlet Witch,
she would be a good one.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah, she would be a good example, because when you have Brie Larson who are playing Captain Marvel, sorry, they're already quite established. They've had big movies, Scarlett Johansson especially. She had that Lucy movie that did so well between all these Marvel movies, and she can attract people outside and inside of Marvel, right? And to the movies. Kind of the females in the industry do that as well as she can. We're discussing before about the idea of a female Avengers team-up thing.
Yeah. So
what were your thoughts being that?
Personally, I'd love to see it, because I personally like a lot of these female characters. I think a few of them, specifically the Black Widow character, interested to see about the solo film is how do they make it interesting? Because we're seeing a lot of cosmic characters, we're seeing a lot of big powered characters. Specific female characters like Captain Marvel have that, but Black Widow is just a human. So I'd like to see how they make it an interesting storyline to make the whole movie interesting when we've seen these very exciting movies. And it's how do you take such an ordinary person and make it, still an interesting story that doesn't need those kind of aspects like magical powers and things like that. I think I like to see that because I like these characters, and I think these are really good actresses. So I think that they can definitely hold their own in the movie. So I don't know. I'm interested to see it personally. and I think that they'll work well together as well.
What about you, Jay? I mean, would you want to see a female team-up movie?
It wouldn't be bad. It could do good. Yeah.
Do you think it's too soon? Because
Well,
we're just getting a Black Widow. We're not even yet, but we're just about to get a solo movie for Black Widow, and we're having a Captain Marvel movie. She's the first solo female movie.
You could also say it's a good surge at this time to.
I mean,
when there's stuff like that.
Agreed, yeah, but do you think maybe they all need their own origin movie before they put them all in a big movie?
Well,
together?
if Black Widow does well, I think it's good confidence to executives like Kevin Feige that we should make more films like this. I get what you mean, like with things like Defenders, they all had their own solo series before they came together. Same with Avengers, they all had their solo movies.
Yeah.
So they need that character development, but I think that they can also develop in other movies. Like Wasp got a lot of development time in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think they can also develop there, even if it is, because that movie was more about really, the Wasp got a little bit more focus on than Scott Lang did really as the Ant-Man. I think that Wasp actually developed a lot more as a character than most people in that film. Even if they are in somebody else's film, I think they can still develop as much as they have their own solo film.
I think there would need to be more backstories for female characters, more solo movies, because we've only got Black Widow and Captain Marvel coming out. It'd be pretty interesting to see what's Black Panther's sister?
Shuri.
Shuri, yeah.
Shuri. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that because in the comics she actually becomes Black Panther after
takes a mantle.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool, like, because that would be, because Black Widow would probably most likely be based in the past.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be much interesting about Shuri in the past. I reckon it should be like based in the future where she becomes Black Panther. Then there should be a solo movie.
Yeah.
Movie of all of them.
Do you think it's too soon to do too much of that stuff?
I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be put off another decade or so.
I don't know about a decade. Maybe like but then again, movies do take quite a while to make.
They've only got a 3-year movie roster at the moment.
So yeah, I reckon maybe another decade. But I think there's just a lot of anticipation for that kind of movie.
Do you think the women really have that much power, like your Evangeline Lilly's, your Elizabeth Olsen's, your Brie Larson's, to actually change Kevin Feige's mind in the?
Well, I think there's a really good relationship with majority of actors, directors, and executives in Disney. I think they all work quite well together and they get along. When you kind of compare it to like DC, there's kind of not that kind of same vibe going on. So I feel like if in DC they were trying to do that, it wouldn't work as well. I think that maybe Marvel might not be able to actually make them do things, but I think they have a much better chance of persuading those executives like Kevin Feige to plan that. Maybe not do it now, but plan it in the future for projects that Marvel could do.
Marvel are going to do what makes them money. And I mean, if that makes them money, they'll do it. But Marvel, not too long ago, had a very bad relationship with their actors as well. So, I mean,
I think if the DC Sirens movie does quite well, and they plan to do one of those, if that does well and Marvel sees it does well, I think that will be also more encouragement that maybe we should try our own spin on that kind of.
I mean, if you actually look at it, DC's timeline versus Marvel, they were actually going to get to their solo women's movie before Marvel did in their time. They made a lot more movies before this Captain Marvel. I mean, how many movies have they made now? Probably you could say 15 movies.
Yeah.
DC are probably going to get there in 7.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a me argument made that DC are actually going with. I mean, obviously, what makes them money? Because Harley Quinn was a big one in Suicide, right? I still think it's going to what it makes them money.
Do DC have stronger female characters than Marvel do? Are they more interesting?
Just completely forgot Wonder Woman. She came a lot earlier, right? When you just
so Wonder Woman's doing really well for DC right now. Harley Quinn.
Another one.
Yeah. And Suicide Squad didn't do so well with critics, but Harley Quinn was the standout character in that film that a lot of people liked. So
I mean, I want to say they do, but then at the same time, like if you take the original Justice League and the original Marvel, like Avengers cast, they have equal amounts of females in both. So I feel like it's just Marvel went with when it was starting out, the definitive superheroes that were going to make them money that were mainly male and not female.
Yeah.
And that kind of epitomizes the lack of equality in the industry. But it seems to be getting better now that they have a working formula and they also have obviously female characters are interesting and people want to get them into the movie series. I would say that DC, on the note of do they have stronger characters, I wouldn't say stronger, but I'd say greater sex appeal.
Yeah.
Especially in DC, they make a lot of characters look and dress in a more male appealing way, right? So that leads towards them making movies that no guys will go see because of the costumes. And mainly, I guess females might feel empowered in that some way, but I think it's probably a negative in a way as well.
You don't really see Marvel kind of going in that direction. Like you saw it in Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn was a bit sexualized in some scenes.
But I mean, it's good. It's good that she's getting equal pay. Like, I mean,
it's good
because
but
Scarlett Johansson's an amazing actor.
It's also you got to look at like how these companies use these characters and the way they use them is ethical. Really.
And then I guess there's also the inflation aspect. Like we were looking at stats before, and Robert Downey Jr. made $2.5 million for his first Iron Man movie. Brie Larson's making $5 million for her first Marvel movie, and Scarlett Johansson's going to be making $50 million for her movie, right? So there's also, looking at that, there's a significant increase in what people are earning based on their first movie every time. Yeah, if you look at Chris Hemsworth made $150,000 for his first. I think Chris Evans made $1 million. So if you're looking at it like that, they're now earning $50 million as well. It almost seems natural to me that Scarlett Johansson should be earning the same. It's whether those other characters like Scarlet Witch can make that jump very quickly, because she's had quite a lot of character development. So I don't think she would need a movie to go into that big female team up.